Liv, we're back for another week.
Another
week, another real talk.
Never felt so good.
I've missed you, girl. Where do we start? Tell me everything. What's been happening?
You recently got to talk about a hens party.
Yes.
I've had a hens party and now a wedding.
Oh,
and when you're in your late 30s, as we said, weddings just don't come along all that often. Or maybe wedding twos might start to happen. This was their wedding one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. How was it? Where was it?
Nice.
Tell us everything.
Left the kids at home. Thanks, Mum and Dad.
Yes.
And jetted off to Adelaide.
Oh, beautiful.
And then new friends. They're, mother's group friends, so it's so nice to, even though we've only known them for a relatively short amount of time, to be part of their beautiful celebration and big party. Felt like I had big shoes.
Well, also when you've got no kiddos to wake up to the next day, it's like game on.
So, look, we had a great time.
Where in Adelaide?
So, their wedding was very central.
Okay. Such a beautiful town. And I'm sure great wine because I feel like the whole Adelaide's
got a
vibe.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. For all those listening in Adelaide, mate, I feel like I said to Jules the other day, I'm like, if our businesses were there and our work was there, I feel like it's the best place to bring up your children. You've got the beaches, you've got the wineries. It's a small town. Jules always says it takes 20 minutes to get anywhere in Adelaide. Like it's just like no traffic.
Yeah.
I'm
beautiful
like all about it. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful, beautiful place.
Isn't it? So today we're not talking about a beautiful thing. We're actually talking about some of the challenges that can happen in our relationships. We had a dad DM us, and thank you to that person who did, about he's sort of really struggling, I guess, in getting on the same page with his wife. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read out the DM. Okay. So it said, I'm a father with 2 toddlers and I'm struggling in my relationship. My wife keeps telling me that I don't pull my weight at home. I believe I do. I think that she's generally stressed out about work and juggling family demands. Any tips on how we can better communicate when resentment like this creeps in? I'm sure we're not the only couple experiencing this.
Okay.
Mate, you're not the only couple, by the way.
I was going to say, did Mark text you that?
I'm like, Jules, I know where you live.
That's got to be something that either party could, ask at any point in time, because it is, something that we all feel.
It's so difficult as well. I mean, think about it. You go from footloose and fancy free, looking after yourself basically, to, okay, wow, like where did all these things come from that I have to do to keep our family unit going, from supermarket shopping to dinners to, just to washing to, the list
I'm
is
exhausted
endless.
just thinking about it.
Right? So I guess, in thinking about this and providing some advice, around, I guess it almost sounds like the mental load is becoming a huge thing for his partner, his wife, and he's sitting there going, mate, I'm over here. And the fact that he even took the time to write in shows his commitment to want to change the dynamic at home.
There's such an obvious first thing here for me.
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation, or this couple needs to have a conversation about expectations. So what are the things that he is not doing that she is hoping he will do more of? Yeah. There's my HR hat, right? Whether it's work-related or home-related, you've got to be on the same page about what the expectations are of each other. And then comes all the other stuff about recognition and doing and all the rest of it. But if, you're not on the same page of these are your jobs, these are my jobs, I think when you have clarity over that, and that's probably something that Mark and I have been trying to work on a little bit more, actually saying, well, yes, bins are your job, and yes, cooking is, my job for that week or whatever it might be, and being really clear on that. Has really, really helped. So that's probably a really good place to start, is how is your expectation setting in your household?
100%. And it's interesting you say that. He's like, she reckons I'm not pulling my weight. I believe I do. Yeah. So to your point, there's a miscommunication, mate. Totally. And I definitely fell into that trap. I fell into the trap of, you should be able to read my mind. If there are dishes on the table and I'm already hanging up the washing, can you just clear the dishes? But I'm thinking that mentally, and I'm like, why are you sitting on the couch? Why are you not clearing the dishes? Mate, clear the dishes. And my head's blowing up. I'm like, clear the freaking dishes. And meanwhile, he's like, dum-da-dum, in his own world. And it's like, how can I get resentful if I'm not communicating, to your point, expectations? I mean, that's such a basic example, but the point is that's how we do it. So what I've realized now is I cannot assume that Jules will know to do really anything housey related.
Yeah.
I can't just assume that he'll know what I'm thinking when it comes to that stuff or to, I guess, life in general.
Done, what you haven't done,
exactly.
what you're thinking about, what you're not thinking about.
Yes, I need to own that he is not a mind reader, so therefore I need to communicate that. Now, if I then would get pushback or I don't want to do that one thing, all right, well, then it opens it up to a conversation. All right, well, if I'm going to do that then, that means it's less time for us to do this thing over here. And like kind of like, dude, we're a team. Let's try and just get this done so we can also enjoy the good stuff as well.
And sometimes you don't have oversight over what both parties are doing.
Yes.
So, quite often I might be getting home later and Mark's already cooked the dishes, cooked dinner, or done the dishes, got the kids settled. An example recently was, I then got all the washing out of the dryer and dumped it on the living room floor and was like, well, are you going to help me with that? And, he was probably sitting there going, mate, I've already
done 10
do you know
things.
what I've done tonight?
Yeah.
But so really kind of having clarity over that and probably treating people, sorry, Mark, with a little bit more kindness around, what everyone's doing to, keep the house going.
I think so. And one thing that I know we've spoken about previously as well is appreciation. So, I mean, I've spoken about the fact that when Jules sits down for a meal, if he just like tucks in after I've been like cooking for an hour, navigating kids, throwing, things at me and all the things, and I finally get the meal on the table, just be like, oh, thanks for dinner. Like it's such a small thing. But for me, that's important. For others, it's not, right? But find your things. For me, if he says thanks for dinner, I can kind of then just like soften a bit and go, okay, all of that was worth it. Similarly, if he's looking after the kids while I go get my nails done, I'll come back, give him a kiss, hello, and then say, thanks so much for looking after the kids. Like, it's your children too, mate. Like, but like at the end of the day, I know that he appreciates that. So those words of affirmation, if we're talking about love languages as well, for me, it's really critical. I mean, do you feel the same? Do you need the affirmation?
Yes, I definitely do. The cooking a dinner one, I love affirmation around dinner, especially after you've thrown 2 plates of the kids' meals in the bin.
Yes.
But I'm trying to show it more towards Mark. Mark is doing a ton for our family at the moment. The kids have been sick. He stayed home. So, because I had some really important meetings that I needed to get to. And I was just so thankful and appreciative that he did that. And a year ago, I wouldn't have thanked him, to be honest. I would have just gone, well, that was your job. Like, you're a dad. Like, you're a dad too. We're equal partners in this. You have to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm a lot more understanding and appreciative that we both have so much that we're trying to juggle. It's not just me trying to do all of this.
What's changed within the year, do you think?
I reckon real talk and talking about this and
therapy helps.
A bit of reflection and better communication when I started to realise that I was talking to you and the podcast community about my relationship, that I needed to have some more of these conversations at home. That, real talk. I'm here for it.
Game on. I hope it's had the same impact on other people's lives.
I'm just,
because we need to be constantly reminded.
It's just, you forget to do that stuff.
Totally.
And we've just been so tired raising these 2 little kids and working big jobs that I didn't feel like I had to. And then I realised, well, my relationship's not going to last if I don't really commit and appreciate and realise that I can't do this without him, and this is a real, real partnership.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a really good place that I've matured into.
Yes.
I think over the last little bit of time. Maybe it's because I've got a little bit more sleep now. I don't know. But I just, through the work of looking at the mental load lists and better communication, we've got to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder as well if it's, you were speaking about your little getaway to Adelaide, for example, and it's not that everyone has to have a getaway to Adelaide or even just a weekend away, but maybe identifying an opportunity to have a little bit of quality time together, because I do think in this, it just seems like this message from, to us, it's kind of something's amiss. Not like it could be the communication, but maybe if they'd had the opportunity to carve out, I don't know, an hour walk together while the baby's in the pram or something. I mean, it's hard with toddlers, and they mention toddlers because toddlers are all over the place all the time. But maybe it's between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, or I don't know, you find your time. But then to be able to connect and have the opportunity to even discuss these things, right?
I think that is so right. And probably the other thing, it's a phase. And if you can get onto it right now, like you're with two little toddlers, that is one of the most difficult phases. So what are you going to do to get through it?
Yes.
And making sure that you have time for each other. Mark and I mean, couple of seasons ago, I think we were talking about after the first Perth trip that we did at the start of this year, just how much it just reinvigorated, our love for each other and kind of connection, that we've made that commitment to, do it a couple of times a year. It doesn't have to be catching a plane somewhere. It can be as simple as just, a night in the Yarra Valley or whatever it might be, or just shipping the kids to the grandparents and, staying at home if that's really all you want to do. And so, just to have that time to talk undistracted by the little people who yell at you all the time.
Right. I feel like I don't say 3 words to Jules during the week. Yeah. Like, it's so difficult just to have a honest conversation about, I don't know, what we're having for dinner tomorrow, let alone like something that's really been shitting me.
I'm interested. Like, I was starting to talk about jobs within the household. Yeah. Do your jobs stay the same each week?
Yeah.
Jobs, probably not the right word. Your tasks. Your
Yes. I would say so.
Like, do you have your jobs that tasks and Jules have his tasks?
Yeah, I would say so. And it's funny because a while back, a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about the supermarket shopping and that you like to do click and collect. Yeah. I actually find it quite soothing to go by myself to the supermarket for an hour and like peruse and like look at things and, and so often supermarket shopping is my task that I do. But yes, we kind of have now gotten into a rhythm and a routine with who does what. Don't get me wrong, when that rhythm changes because, Jules has to travel for an extra day, that wasn't in the plan or something, then I lose it because I'm like, oh my God, the routine. But for me, I feel quite grounded in a routine of knowing typically within a week what we're doing. Yeah. Do you have similar tasks most of the time?
We definitely do, and cooking has always been mine, but I'm finding that, it's just been really busy, so I'm getting home later. So I get agitated or annoyed when I do get home at 6:37 and I've got to start cooking. Yeah. So the kids have been fed because they typically eat what we've, cooked the night before. Yeah. So Mark, good option to communicate about this. Yeah. And I asked him, I said, do you just think we're going to have this tomorrow night? Could you start preparing the vegetables? So at least I don't have to stand there chopping for half an hour. So that's been great. And thanks, honey, for helping. Yes. I know I've probably added another task to his list, but it's just meant that the household's running a bit more smoother. Yeah. So, I'm asking for help. I think we're probably both asking for help with our tasks a little bit more.
Well, it's interesting. One thing, talking about dinner, one thing that we kind of have, it's been a bit difficult on the dinner front, okay?
Ooh, because sensitive. I didn't realise that dinner was...
It's still a bit fresh, this argument that we had. No, but it's more that we always like the idea of having dinner together. But I'm home by 4:00 with the kids, right? Because I work in construction. By 3:00 we're finished. And then following that, we might have an after school activity. By about 4, we're home. And then I'm waiting till 6:30 to eat my dinner. And so even at 4, once I've cooked the dinner, I'm like smelling good, nice food. And what am I eating? Half a block of cheese with crackers to tie me over because I'm starving.
Leftovers.
Spaghetti, all the things. So the kids are fed. By the time Jules would come through the door, there would be steam coming out of my ears and like, you are 1 minute late. Yeah. Why? Because I'm freaking starving and I'm not that hungry because I've eaten half a block of cheese or whatever it looks like.
So would you be happier to just eat at 4:30?
I said to him, as of literally 3 days ago, when I can, I will have dinner with you. Yeah. And when I can't, it's funny because it's not like he ever said,
when
I'm
hungry,
together.
I am going to have dinner at 4:30.
And I was very proud of myself the way I put it. I was like, it's not fair on me to have to wait, but it's also not fair on you to have to come home to a cranky wife because I'm hangry and you're just trying to race home.
So proud.
So I was like, well done, Leonie, pat back. Yeah. No. But the point is, no one set those rules or boundaries for us. Around, it has to be the two of you sit down and have dinner at the same time. It was just something I implicitly had in my head because I guess growing up, we always had dinner together. And perhaps as the kids get older and we come home later and later, that will happen. But at the moment, it's not working for me. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to shift something because I even remember I read Michelle Obama's book and she was like, coming home, 6:00 is dinner. to Obama, if you can't make 6 o'clock, we're all eating.
Yeah.
And I love that because she was like, for so long, I was waiting for him to come home and then the kids were getting ratty and then a whole night was blown out. So I guess the point of the lesson there is you might have little things in your schedule that you've been so fixated on, but if it's not working, just adjust it. And I know that sounds so bloody obvious, but for me, it wasn't obvious for so long.
It has taken me nearly 15 years to ask Mark to help prepare dinner. Prime example, right? Like, because that was my job duty.
Yes.
I stuck to it and I did it because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well.
Yes.
Whereas, just asking for a little bit of help really does help. And, again, it just goes back to expectations around dinner and how it's going to work and flow and if you can achieve one night together. I mean, we rarely have dinner together as a family. I was the same growing up that we'd all have family dinner. Probably will happen in hopefully 5 to 10 years. But right now, 5 o'clock dinner times and work life does not correlate.
No. I think that's right. So for that person who called in, I mean, like you could see there's so many intricacies in the way in which a family unit will go about their day, their weeks, etc. But I think the most important thing here is, as Liv was saying, let's understand what the expectations are for both of you. And even when you have set perhaps those tasks that you will do, you're going to always end up tweaking and refining over time. And that's okay too, right?
I've been sending Mark a lot of bills to pay. Home administration is mine. But I just haven't had time to do it. Yep. So I will forward them to him and say, please pay this.
Yes.
Good. Delegation, expectations and delegation.
Yes. I love that.
You just got to do whatever works at that transition point.
That's right. And it's not forever, to your point. Having little toddlers is pretty full on, but it is not forever. So hopefully that's been helpful. Thank you to that person again for calling in. And Liv, I'll catch you next time.
See you later.